Congresswoman Mace, listen, we've come a long way from the original $2.2 trillion price tag, which obviously was some sort of a feeler. But it's so intriguing to me because it feels like Republicans are warming up to this bipartisan effort, and it's the Democrats who seem to really be pushing back. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. When I heard Nancy Pelosi's remarks just now on your program, her saying that Democrats are not in lockstep, that they're not all in one, just last week, the House had its markup, its committee hearing on transportation infrastructure, where Republicans were not allowed to pass any bipartisan or nonpartisan amendments to the infrastructure bill. So I have huge disagreement with the speaker on this right now, but I'm encouraged. I do feel encouraged by the Senate that's got Republicans and Democrats coming together. They've come up with a plan for $973 billion in spending, and most of it looks like potentially is on infrastructure, not art and sculptures and landscaping or high-speed rail in Nancy Pelosi's backyard, but real infrastructure projects. And that's what the American people want, need, and deserve.
Yeah, I think right now our infrastructure gets a D- from the American Association of Civil Engineers. So you're right. Everyone wants it. Every politician talks about it. Everyone promises it. And it always seems like low-hanging fruit, except when you attach a lot of things that maybe are designed to reimagine America. So this bill, this, which you consider more than, if it is pure infrastructure, which we all want, really more of an investment than spending. And if that's the case, how do you ultimately pay for it? Because I know that Republicans are going to stand firm on no new taxes.
Absolutely. And there is a way to pay for it. There are trillions of dollars in unspent COVID relief funds. I talk to states and counties every single day that have more money than they know what to do with. The money is out there. So if we take that money, let's say $1 trillion in COVID relief money that has not been spent, we can do enormous good with that in an infrastructure package. And that's the way you can do it without the largest tax hike in American history. That's the way to go.
So in the last week, we've gotten reports on inflation in this country. They're shattering records. So people are concerned. Even that $1.9 trillion that went through earlier this year, helping to goose up inflation. Everyone's feeling it. And a lot of people, according to a mama poll, over 70% of people are concerned about it. How do you juxtapose that to any more spending, any spending at all coming out of D.C., these huge projects?
Well, and you look at inflation right now, we're approaching levels that haven't been seen since World War II. Groceries are going up over 21%. Gasoline, fuel, lumber is 381% up. The cost to build a house costs 30% more today than it did 6 months to a year ago. It is a problem. Inflation is taxation on the American people, but spending is not just a Democrat problem. Republicans and Democrats have been at fault for this for decades. It's gotten significantly worse in COVID-19. Our debt is $28 trillion and counting. The deficit is $3 trillion or more, and we've got to hold each other accountable. And without members holding strong in the House or the Senate, I don't know how we get it done, but we've got to stop this.
How do you, isn't the problem, though, because I think a lot of people really come to Washington, D.C. You're new, you're still fresh and eager, and, you've made these promises, but it feels like once they get there, the lure of staying forever takes over, and any good intention they may have had is influenced by that. So it's now all of a sudden becomes bringing home the bacon, bringing home the bridge to nowhere, and that's how you get reelected. How do you resist something like that?
Well, it takes people with character. It's not only that, it's also staying in power. The more money you have, the more power that you have. And I see it every single day. You see people, they're intoxicated with power. And you see new members sometimes like they're a deer in headlights sometimes, and they don't know what to do, and then they go back on their promises. It's really important to the American people now more than ever when it comes to fiscal policy that we put our money where our mouth is, that we live by the rules that we enact on everybody else. And so if Congress is going to have the highest tax hike on corporations and small businesses, well, guess what? Congress should be taxed just the same. And if that were the case, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And by the way, that $28 trillion and counting, we're going to hit the cliff. We don't know where it is, but we are going to hit it at this rate. I want to switch topics for a moment. The Supreme Court siding with the Catholic foster agency 9-0. That was the decision against the city of Philadelphia. Now, the city had tried to ban the agency because it excluded same-sex couples. What do you make of the decision?
Well, the First Amendment and religious liberty should be protected in this country. And there are many plentiful foster homes and foster services around the country that have varying opinions that are not religious based. And so I think it's really important that we do protect religious liberty in this country, protect the First Amendment, and allow folks to go through the proper agencies to do those adoptions or to foster children. It's important to have those protections in place for everybody.